So here's the conundrum. You're in the market for a 4-seat side-by-side because your better half told you that if you want a side-by-side at all, it has to be capable of hauling the whole family. But what you really wanted was the no-holds-barred, full jam, all-out, top-of-the-line high-performance model. Dang, I guess you're gonna have to compromise and not get exactly what you wanted. Or are you? The answer is a resounding no, and I'm gonna prove it in this somewhat unconventional test ride of Polaris's 2020 RZR PRO XP 4. Normally, I'd find 3 friends who are crazy enough to strap themselves inside this thing and put their lives in my hands for a day of testing and shooting. But today, I'm gonna do this one solo. And no, I swear it's not because none of my friends trust me anymore. My reasoning behind this move is simple. Not everyone who buys a 4-seater will actually drive it with 4 people on board all the time. In fact, the truth is, most of the time, a 4-seater like this one will have no more than 2 people and often just one hunkered down inside. So why not test it like that? AJ already did a full test ride on the 2020 PRO XP 2-seater this season. The specs for this 4-seat version are identical. This is the ultimate package, so it includes ride command with a 7-inch display, Rockford Fosgate premium auto, and DYNAMIX 2.0 active suspension. Under the hood is a 925cc parallel twin pushing 181 ponies through a high-low gearbox into Polaris's revered CV transmission, then out to all 4 tires through Polaris's even more revered extreme performance true on-demand 4x4 system. In terms of a power plant and driveline, it doesn't get much better than this. Double A arms up front produce 20 inches of travel, and trailing arms with high clearance radius rods produce what Polaris lists as 22 inches of usable wheel travel out back, whatever that means. The driver compartment on the 4-seat PRO XP is the same as the 2-seat model. In fact, if you're the driver or front passenger, it's literally identical. Excellent, well-bolstered high-back bucket seats are comfortable, and 6-point retractable harnesses front and rear give you the confidence that you're going to stay seated no matter what happens. From a technology perspective, the PRO XP 4 is the pinnacle in the side-by-side industry. We all know what DYNAMIX does, but in case you haven't heard, we think it's even more awesome than you're imagining it could be. Ride command is equally as impressive, with a full suite of apps and widgets to do everything from answer phone calls to keeping track of your buddies on the screen to seeing what's behind you while you're backing up. Too often, manufacturers include technology on their flagship models that doesn't actually make the overall user experience any better. Ride command is not that kind of technology. Now, in terms of a driver-only driving experience, I guess the most important question that needs to be answered is simply this. Does the 4-seater lack any of the ride, handling, or performance characteristics we love so much about the 2-seat version? The answer goes like this. In terms of ride quality, the 4-seater may actually be a hair better than the 2-seater. The longer wheelbase spreads the impacts out over a larger platform and makes everything feel just a bit more plush. In the handling department, there will obviously be some downsides to a vehicle that is 2.5 feet longer, but I wouldn't say it's anything that ruins any of the overall driving experience. Turning radius is obviously way larger. Getting around tight corners requires some forethought, and getting it sideways on the trail requires a bunch more trail than the 2-seater. Handling is slightly less snappy, though no less precise. With all this said, if you're going to be crawling up any kind of steep incline, the 4-seater just does it better. As far as performance is concerned, the only difference between the 2-seat and 4-seat PRO XPs is the weight. The 4-seater weighs about 270 pounds more, so it's going to accelerate just a little bit more slowly and take just a little bit longer to come to a stop under hard braking. But due to the fact that the PRO XP is such an absolute animal in the power department, you'll hardly notice either of these things. So I think we've now established that the 4-seat PRO XP is still an absolutely amazing side-by-side, even if you spend most of your time driving it alone. But there are a few things I want to gripe about before we're done here. First, the model we're testing is the Ultimate package. Ultimate suggests there could be no better, it's maxed out. The price also suggests there couldn't possibly be anything left off of this model. So why the heck isn't there a roof included? In Canada, this unit costs $40,000 plus tax. My opinion is that if you're going to charge this much for what is essentially a high-performance toy, it better include a roof. Second, and this one is just annoying, why on earth would Polaris first design a vehicle with doors that have big openings in them, then, not at the very least, include inserts for these big openings on the Ultimate model? I see no practical purpose for why these doors aren't solid and even sealed like they are in the General. Polaris, I know you can do better than this. Finally, the latches on the storage doors are just junk. They don't lock properly, they rattle, and oftentimes they break. This would be a very easy fix, and while it seems like a small thing, for a vehicle at this level of price and performance, we expect that even the little issues be fixed. These 3 things are literally the only 3 things that I can find to gripe about while I'm driving the Pro XP4 though. Everything else about this vehicle comes as close to sport side-by-side perfection as this industry has seen thus far. The moral of this story is one that I think should bring much hope and contentment to off-road enthusiasts who have to appease their better half when buying a side-by-side by only choosing from those that can fit the whole family. You're not giving up much of anything by choosing a Polaris RZR PRO XP4. You'll still be able to keep up with all of your bachelor buddies in their 2-seat sport side-by-sides anytime, any place. But when they go home to a lonely apartment, you're going to be going home to a family who loves you even more for buying them such a great, family-focused recreational vehicle. If you enjoyed this segment, make sure you hit that like button and definitely consider leaving us some comments. We always appreciate hearing from our fans. Also, make sure you're subscribed because we have tons of new content coming up right here on Dirt Trax.